Tonight, North Korea's reclusive Kim Jong-un is in Russia after arriving on an armored train for a rare meeting between two dictators. Trading weapons is at the top of their agenda. The alliance between the two American adversaries is one of many issues facing whoever wins the 2024 presidential campaign. In our series, America Decides, we sat down with Republican Governor Ron DeSantis to talk first about foreign policy. Russia wants more weapons to send to Ukraine. If Putin gives the North Koreans advanced nuclear technologies in return, how would you respond to that threat?
Well, we have to obviously keep Kim Jong-un in a box. This is a very irrational individual. He's prone perhaps to do irrational things. And so we will work to put him in a box and to keep the pressure on Kim Jong-un.
Just last week, Kim Jong-un launched a new submarine, which North Korea claims has nuclear attack capabilities.
Would you, as commander-in-chief, authorize a preemptive strike against the North Koreans?
Yes, if you knew that there was definitely someone was about to launch a missile at you, of course you take action to prevent and protect your people, but that would require a certain amount of evidentiary threshold. I don't think you just go willy-nilly.
We met Ron DeSantis in New York after he visited with 9/11 families. The terror attacks inspired him to join the U.S. Navy. Today, he believes China is our top national security threat.
We don't want a war with China. We want to prevent a war with China. I think the way you prevent the war is through strength and having a strong military.
If China invades Taiwan, would you commit U.S. military forces to defend Taiwan?
Taiwan is an ally. I've been very clear on that. We have very long-standing U.S. policy about how we project our actions and intentions regarding Taiwan. You will see a continuity of that with me as president.
One place where DeSantis wants to use U.S. troops is on the border.
Would you commit U.S. troops to taking out these Mexican cartels?
We are going to lean in and we are going to defend our country. And so I was at the border in Arizona. So there was one part where there was a stretch of wall. These guys are working on the base of the wall. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, well, we're repairing it. I'm like, what happened? They said the cartels can cut through. I mean, these are big steel beams and they're cutting through. And yet they're being allowed to come in to our country. They got backpacks on with fentanyl and all this stuff. So in those situations, yes, we will have deadly force authorized.
Would you send missiles into Mexico?
We would use all available. The tactics, I think, can be debated. If you have something you want to accomplish, people would brief you on the different ways to be able to do it. So that would be dependent on the situation. But I think you're
But launching military forces into Mexico is a much different standard. That's why I'm asking this question.
But the reality is they are overrunning our border. They're sex trafficking, they're human trafficking, and they're bringing in massive quantities of drugs. I mean, our country is being invaded and hurt by what they're doing. And the question is, do we just throw up our hands and do we say there's nothing we can do about it? Or does a leader take action? Because I'll tell you this.
Is it a border, you said stone cold dead. And when you said that, that made me think this is more than a border patrol issue.
It is. And yeah, I'm going to have the military at the border 100%. I mean, if they're trying to break through the wall, we will have deadly force authorized to be able to stop that. I mean, if
to shoot migrants coming across the border.
Cartel members, I mean, you have to identify them as being hostile. I mean, if there's a woman with a baby, they're not a cartel member. There's not going to be authorization to just shoot somebody like that. But when somebody's got a backpack on and they're breaking through the wall, you know that that's hostile intent, and you have every right to take action under those circumstances. And if you, guess what? You do that a few times, the times are a-changing. They will have to respond to that.
Well, tomorrow we're going to have more with Governor DeSantis to talk about domestic issues like the economy, abortion rights, and some controversial social policies in Florida.